everyone, it's Lindsay, and today I'm going to show you how to make these wood slice ornaments for Christmas. So I went in and had my husband cut out some of these wood slices from a tree that we'd had to cut down on our property. They're about 1 inch thick, and then we drilled holes at the top. You can purchase these little discs like this from any craft store, however. And then here I'm taking some just cheap craft paint in black, and I'm loosely painting on a circle onto the center of this wood slice here. And I've gone ahead and done a few of them and let them dry. This first method here is going to use this. This is a stencil that I cut out using my Silhouette Cameo. I've cut it out on vinyl, and I've already gone ahead and weeded out the negative space that I want to paint. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the backing sheet. You can see here I have it on a piece of transfer tape. And then I'm going to go ahead and position that down. Now, if you don't have a Silhouette Cameo, stay tuned. About halfway through the video here, I have a second way to do these ornaments. So don't click off if you don't have a Cameo. But this may be a little tidbit into why you want a Silhouette Cameo on your Christmas list. They are wonderful, and I use it all of the time. So I'm just making sure to really rub down that stencil really, really well. And then I'm going to very gently pull off this transfer tape, making sure that all of the little pieces like the center of the G and the E stay adhered to that wood slice. And so I'm just very, very, very carefully pulling that off of here. And there you go. So now it's sticky, like a sticker of a stencil adhered down on there. Just making sure that everything is on there really good. That way you don't have any bleed through underneath the stencil. Here I'm just taking a paint sample that I got from Lowe's. This is a Valspar, I think it's Polar White. You can go in and ask for a sample container like this of any of the colors they have on the wall, and they come out to be about $3. So it's a great way to get a lot of paint. And here I've gone ahead and taken a cosmetic sponge, cut it in half. And here's the trick. I'm going to pick up a little bit of paint, and then I'm going to dab it off onto this just piece of scrap paper until almost all of the paint is off of that sponge, and then I'm going to take it to the stencil. You want a little bit of paint but multiple layers to get the best image with this, because the wood is a little bit rough. Even though I sanded it, you don't want to just go in there globbing down tons of paint, or it's going to run under that stencil. So I've sped this up a little bit, but I'm just very, very gently tapping that paint onto the stencil, making sure that it gets down into all the little nooks and crannies. This is a little bit finer of a stencil, so I want to make sure that it gets completely covered. So I probably go in with maybe 3 or 4 layers of this white paint here. I'm also being sure not to go onto the outside of that circle stencil where it might get onto the wood piece. So just be careful with that. Again, just picking up a little bit of paint, dabbing most of it off, and then dabbing it onto here. I found these cosmetic sponges are really the best, better than any kind of stenciling brushes or anything like that. They're absorbent, they're a little bit stiffer, and they cover a little bit wider of an area. So I've gone ahead and let that dry, and then now I am gently taking this stencil off. I probably didn't let it completely dry. I let it sit for a couple minutes. I find it's easier if it's not completely dry, where it'll start to pull up some of the paint, but you do want it dry enough that it doesn't bleed as you pull that stencil off. Here I'm just taking some fancy eyelash tweezers and I'm using those to pull off all the little pieces that were left behind the inside of the letters and things like that, being careful not to gouge the wood or pull up any of the paint. And then here I just have some twine. And this is what I'm going to use for the hanger on this ornament here. So I've just gone ahead and cut some off. I'm going to thread that through that hole on the top. And the whole idea of this is to be rustic, to be messy. So I'm not giving you any real measurements or anything like that. The idea is just to be kind of loose with it and not be too particular. just going to go ahead and tie that off and trim it up, and then that's it for this first one. Now you could seal these with a spray sealer. I didn't, but before I package it up for the season, I might go ahead and spray them just so they stay really well. Okay, here is the second way to do it. So if you don't have a Silhouette Cameo or a Cricut or something like that, I've gone ahead and printed these images off onto some paper. Now these designs are ones that I bought out of the Silhouette Studio online store, but you could very easily design something like this with something you find online. So this is just plain copy paper, and making sure it's lined up over that circle so that the word joy will be completely contained within the black. And then I'm going to go ahead and adhere that down with just a little bit of washi tape here in a second. What I'm going to use to transfer this is some graphite paper. So one side is shiny, one side is not. You're going to want to place this shiny side down onto the wood, but underneath the copy paper. So you're going to make a little sandwich here, just like that. And then you're going to take a ballpoint pen. And I went over this lightly at first, like I normally do when I use this tracing paper, and it didn't work. You want to make sure you press down really, really hard, really well. You're not going to be able to quite see that on camera here, but it does leave a very, very faint pencil line on that wood slice there. Now I'm taking my Signo Uniball white gel pen. This is my favorite white gel pen. And then I'm just going to go over and trace over the graphite paper markings with this pen. And then as you can see on the font, there are some wider areas, and so I'm going to go ahead and make sure to thicken up some of those strokes on that word there, and just let this gel pen dry really well so you don't smear it. And then I'll go ahead and seal these with a spray sealer, and then this should stay just as well as the paint. So, and you could very easily use just these gel pens and freehand to design on there, or try to copy something that you see, like snowflakes or lettering or something like that. So this would be a great project to do with your kids. Just let them color and draw, and you could probably even get away with using some like metallic gel pens and things like that would show up well on this black craft paint. So again, I'm just finishing off a little hanger here. Going to trim the ends, and then that is it. So there you go. If you have any questions, be sure to contact me here on YouTube. Subscribe to my channel so you can be up to date on any future videos I have. And until next time, thank you so much. Goodbye.